Saturday slate, Sunday slate. It doesn't matter. We've got football multiple days. And now we're going to talk about the main slate here. And of course, I'm going to do what I always do here. We're going to hand build a lineup. We're going to optimize lineup. We're going to sim lineups. We're going to use all of that together to find out the must plays of week 15, Sunday football. Let's get into it here. Long time no see, guys. Hopefully the redirect worked for the most of you guys on here. And of course, if it didn't, then fuck me. This is how that looks. The phlegm is racking up here. Give me one. Good start to the video. But let's talk about the main slate. Main thing for the main slate right away that I think we're going to observe is going to be that the people are going to play the shitload of the Rams. Like, they're playing the Commanders. Of course, we know the Commanders, one of the defenses that we like to target the most. Kareem Williams is going to be projected extremely well across every site today. Of course, the game logs speak for themselves as well. Got 114 yards against Baltimore and also 29 intended touches in that game, which is pretty crazy to see for Kareem Williams. At GM for the first time. They shout to the chat as always, coming along for the ride. Appreciate all you guys moving from show to show, video to video here. Kareem Williams, though, like, the spot is so good. The opportunities for him are so good. As we talked about on the year, he's basically Christian McCaffrey, but lower priced, similar upside. So Kareem Williams, I think, is a strong play to go to here. I worry that playing him, you're just going to put yourself the large portion of the field. Again, like we talked about here, it's always about trying to shave away yourself from portions of the field that are going to be just locking guys in and not even thinking about it. Kyron is one of those plays this week, but I think he is such a good play. Hard to ignore, of course. We know enough about the Commanders. I don't think I really need to say more about it. But just to give you guys some of the metrics here, let's see if we can get this going here. Sorry, guys. I think I am searching by formulas right now, and I need to search by values. So Rams, 28.3 implied points. The one thing you can say that Washington does well, they defend the red zone rushes pretty well, negative 0.16 EPA there. Of course, you guys know, if you are a member of Splash Play and you see the data sheet I post every week, which I'll post after this video as well, it's all green going against Washington. Like, that green is hospitable for opposing offenses. The one thing that's red is the red zone run. So you could say that theoretically Kareem Williams maybe doesn't get there with red zone rushes, but I think that's pretty narrow. I think the one way you play the Rams without getting Kareem Williams in a lineup would be to stack the Rams up, stack the pass game heavily. That could be just Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua concentrating for them. Maybe both guys put up 100, 150 yards and a TD or two. You could include the tight end as well. Allen looked pretty good last week. I thought 3,300, he's fucking not even min salary. Higbee, I don't know. Is Higbee's going to be available this week? I actually haven't seen anything on him. Looks like he's back in practice. Okay, Higbee's back. So Higbee's a tight end to target. Actually, I kind of worry that Davis Allen gets in the mix a little bit more, just because of the fact that Higbee is a strong play, obviously on paper. But Davis Allen looked like a really good tight end last game out for the Rams. And he did it against the Ravens too, where he was like being targeted pretty heavily, trusted pretty heavily, I think, on some of those targets as well. And he also broke outlier plays. Was really impressed by the eye test for Davis Allen, if not, anything else besides that. But Higbee, I think, point being, is like, if you're not going to go to Kareem Williams, I think you need to really stack up the Rams. And obviously, I don't think I want to do that for myself for this build. We do want to get a receiver in the mix, though. Cooper Kupp, good matchup as well, obviously. Puka, also a good matchup. Who do we like more? Puka's slightly cheaper at 7,300. Ownership, ETR's got Puka protected for 15% ownership. Cooper Kupp protected for 8% ownership. Let's go Cooper Kupp's way, I guess. I don't feel fantastic about it. You're missing out on Tyreek. Tyreek has not practiced this week, so we'll see if he even goes this weekend. We're missing out on CeeDee Lamb going against Buffalo. Buffalo does stink defending out wide. CeeDee Lamb should be able to get production going against Buffalo. I feel not great playing Cooper Kupp with these guys in that price range, but he is the cheapest of these studdish receivers, so I definitely get it. And Tank here, yes, Tank missed the first video, but hey, you're here for one of the videos, so that's all I could ever ask here of any of you guys. Let's go Cooper Kupp for this build. Do I put Stafford in? I think Stafford is going to make this even chalkier. But 6K salary for Stafford, that's not very bad. No other really great matchups. Let's just build a fucking chalk donkey lineup because my brain hurts. So Stafford, Kareem Williams, Cooper Kupp. That is probably a very chalky baseline, so we need to do something to get different here. I don't even know what. Obviously, the spot for McCaffrey against Arizona is pretty huge as well. I don't want to fade that. We know Arizona can give up probably 4 touchdowns in this game to McCaffrey alone, but obviously the pass game going to benefit as well. Everything's going to benefit against Arizona's defense. That is the same thing basically as the Commanders in terms of that production. You know what? What's Purdy's price? Yeah, Purdy more expensive. Purdy up to 6,800. He's been having good games, but I don't know that he deserves to be that expensive. I'd rather have Stafford relative to those price tags. Tyreek, the kind of guy who can play a Sunday without practicing if he feels good. He politicked his way back in that last game, so I think it's possible. I would watch, I think he comes to be a game time decision. If you're Miami, you try to win ugly against the Jets, I think, and you wouldn't feel too bad about it. So that's like a pure coin toss to me. But I think Tyreek has a better shot than most of playing without practicing at all during the week. But because we saw what happened with that offense, where the offense looked completely different and much worse without Tyreek. So I think that, and they need him too at this point, because the bye is slipping out of their fingers pretty quickly. So I think for Tyreek, I think he could end up going, but paying $9,900 for a guy with possibly a high ankle sprain, at least a semi-high ankle sprain, maybe not the best move for your lineups overall, but definitely contrarian for sure if he does get in. All right, we got to get some part of the Niners here, and Debo's almost 8K as well. Jesus, this slate is tough, man. This is not a fun slate. Arizona's been good defending the tight end this year, or better relatively. Kittle's 5,800 too. You kind of price wise, you kind of have to fade the Niners, huh? Because I don't want to pay that much for all those guys. That's so much. Again, really good spot. Niners on the week. Rams have 28.3 implied points. Niners 30 implied points flat. That's a really high total. But I guess the hope would just be that they carve up touchdowns enough, because even if McCaffrey gets one, Debo gets one, Ayuk gets one, and then somebody else gets one, they're probably not actually making a winning lineup. Ayuk game, maybe. I mean, it's definitely you could try to consolidate production, and you really do. But if you play the full stack this, they need to put up 50 to justify the full stack. And I don't think that's going to be within the range of outcomes. Liking Kittle the most because of price and matchup. I agree. Arizona on the year, though, really good shutting down tight ends, I believe. Not shutting them down, but the rate of passes to tight ends is really low. An 8% pass rate to tight ends, 0.26 EPA, though. So it could be an efficient Kittle day. But if Kittle does take one touchdown off the board, it gets harder for McCaffrey, Debo, and Ayuk to get there, too. So it's just, I think you could make the case to just avoid the Niners if you can. I'd have a harder time avoiding the Rams, but I think you could also make that case for the Rams, too. And if you faded the Niners and Rams this weekend, you're probably on an island in terms of ownership, because everybody's going to play at least one Ram, at least one Niner, I think, in a lineup. And if it's consolidating that much, you just take your shot that there's another outlier scoring game somewhere else. So I think that's one approach this week, but I'm not going to do it in this build because I can't even fucking wrap my head around it. Let's look at the rest here. Pacheco, not in practice. Mostert banged up. Achane has a toe injury. Everybody banged up for Miami. The running backs certainly benefit if Tyreek Hill doesn't play in that spot against the Jets. And honestly, they're going to benefit either way, because you do check down a little bit more. Gets the Jets pass defense that we know is one of the best in the league. Man. Davis Mills. I don't think there's a shot of Stroud playing this week. Davis Mills, though, 4,900 against the tough, and a matchup in Tennessee that you could really put up a lot of points if you're a good QB. Oh, man. Can Stroud get out of concussion protocol? Or what's the latest updates on him? Isn't practicing Thursday. Yeah, I don't think he gets off. That sucks. Would like to target that matchup against Tennessee, but that's not going to work with Davis Mills. All right, we got to pick some more players here. Let's do a bring back for the Commanders. I think that'll help me get this a little bit more aligned. Terry McLaurin coming off one of the worst games of his career. No catches, 3 targets. Got to think coming off a bye week that they're going to have a concerted effort to feed Terry McLaurin a little bit. I think McLaurin's a nice bounce back spot. Obviously, Commanders wide receivers have been pretty tough to pick this year just because they don't ever seem to get there besides Curtis Samuel. But I do think you have the bye week. You're coming off a 0-point game. Got to think McLaurin gets fed a little more deliberately here. Squeaky wheel, he hasn't complained publicly about it, but just the time between not having a catch in a game. And Terry McLaurin, he's paid extremely well. He's paid like he's one of these top guys at wide receiver in the league. So I think he's probably the best bring back for me. But yeah, I think it'd be nice to see him hit. I don't even know if I have any left because of how bad he's been this year. Cade/Brevin double tight end, pay up everywhere else. I don't think that would be the move. That's too cheap at tight end, and you're not going to have enough of a ceiling for 2 spots. You definitely play one of them. And I think Brevin Jordan does make sense. We're targeting again the Tennessee Yeah, and backup QBs. That works for me. Let's do Brevin Jordan at tight end. Excuse me. And then let's see what else we can do to fill out this lineup. I'm going to put the defense in just because I need to figure out how much salary we're going to have left. We are fading the Niners, so let's go for the gusto. Let's say Arizona at home puts up a TD against them. Obviously, not the most likely outcome. Niners projected for 30 implied points. Obviously, they can bury you, but if the Cardinals get a few sacks, pick up a touchdown, whether it be on special teams or on defense, they would certainly, I think, have a shot at making a winning lineup, and they are direct leverage against the Niners, so let's go for that. What is the play with double tight end? It's supposed to be high/low price, low/low, or high/high usually. Low/low will drop you too low, assuming that these guys aren't really like players with a ceiling where I guess like Freiermuth, if you had Freiermuth that week and Trey McBride, excuse me, like those guys have like a tangible ceiling and they both hit it. I think that one week that Freiermuth was a tournament winner. So you could play that one if they're cheap guys. But if it's like Brevin Jordan, Cade Otton, their ceiling outcomes are like 15 points. So you don't want to play two of them, but you could play two tight ends if it's like a Travis Kelce, because Travis Kelce is basically a receiver. Same thing for a Mark Andrews when he's healthy. Same thing to a lesser extent for Kittle, Laporta, guys like that. So you could play I would play one premium-ish tight end and then one kind of flotsam cheap tight end who could still have, still also be able to get you like 10 to 15. But you don't want to have two guys giving you 10 because then you're just drawing dead. At least in terms of like winning a tournament. Cashing, you could certainly cash. All right, we have to get in a few more players here. Is James Conner still the Cardinals running back? Is that the one that we should be trusting here? No, Michael Carter is in the mix. He got 25 rushes last game. That was in Pittsburgh, though, which is his native land, as well as, of course, his former team. So maybe that is something where they don't do it again this week. But we're playing the Cardinals D, so let's just go for the gusto here. We're fading Niners. I don't think if you could fade Niners, to be clear, without playing Cardinals. I think that's a wiser way to do it. But just for the sake of getting our second hand build done today, I'm going to try to just do it this way. Wide receivers, we need to plunk in here. Who else do we want to go to? So many fucking Q tags. Amari Cooper definitely getting more targets than Joe Flacco. Cleveland offense rather looking a little bit more spry. Chicago defense looking better, but still on the year not a good defense by any stretch in terms of defending the pass. Much better defending run on the year. Chicago still a 0.02 EPA per drop back, 0.02 EPA per pass. Get up a 74% completion rate on throws of under 20 air yards. So Flacco maybe feels the pressure a little bit more against Chicago, who is getting home a little bit more since they've got added Montez Sweat. But I do think that in this situation, I trust Amari Cooper the most out of the Cleveland pass catchers, even though Njoku's been good recently. I think this could be the spot for him. I feel like he's been lingering around, having a good day. Obviously, let's look at the game logs. He had 14. I didn't even realize he had that many targets because I was actually watching a lot of that game. Seemed like he was targeted a lot, but 14 times is a crazy amount. Really feels like I've justified my take here. Hopkins, I would not chase Hopkins in the spot. Houston's defense is actually really good. I think the most likely outcome if Mills plays that game is that game just becomes kind of a dumpster fire, which would be good for Derrick Henry, I think, but probably not as good for Hopkins. I think that was the outlier game for Levis. That was the one that they've been waiting for. Rashid Rice, route share coming up for him finally. He's up. I think he played 80% of the snaps last week, 10 targets as well. New England, a defense as well that is not what it's been in previous years by any stretch. New England on the year, negative 0.01 EPA per drop back, negative 0.02 EPA per pass, 74% completion rate allowed on throws of under 20 air yards, allowing a 7% deep shot rate as well. So New England, I think an okay defense, definitely on the lower end though in terms of the pass D, and they are a good run defense, negative 0.2 EPA per rush, negative 0.2 EPA per red zone rush. So they are shutting down the run, allowing the pass. I think Rashid Rice works. Salary-wise, he works. And as a player, I think he's got enough upside. So this will be the final team. Matthew Stafford, Kareem Williams, James Conner, Cooper Kupp, Terry McLaurin, Amari Cooper, Brevin Jordan, Rashid Rice, Cardinals. I don't think this is going to be one that'll be too chalky. It's going to be my guess. But let's see what we're going to get in the projections in a moment here. One thing to note as well, Stochastic did not have ownership projections up for the main slate yet, so we're not able to see that. Of course, you can also check the link in the description down below. Get 15% off of Stochastic, get the ownership projections for the main slate by using promo code SPLASH on there. And of course, we get an affiliate fee for that, so you're helping out the show. If you want to use the data that I'm looking at here, that's one good way to do that. All right, let's look at the main slate. Top projected players, Christian McCaffrey. Wow, McCaffrey is so far above everybody else. Man, that's a lot of money to pay for McCaffrey. McCaffrey is going to have a day of 20 or more fantasy points, I would say 90% of the time in this matchup. So if you're going to be there, like, I don't think you want to pay 9,300 just to be safe at running back. You'd rather take a shot at some other running backs putting up 20 to McCaffrey's 25. Obviously, if McCaffrey goes for 40, that could definitely break the slate and be a tough one, but I would not want to go over the field on McCaffrey. I think that this projection is so much, everybody's going to land there based on projection, and that's not where you want to be, I think, is just holding hands with the field on a 9,300 running back that has an offense that could score touchdowns with like 10 different dudes. Tough, man. That's a really big projection for McCaffrey. Number 2 projection, Josh Allen, 23 for him. CeeDee Lamb, 22.6. Kareem Williams, 21.2. Tyreek, 20.8. Of course, Tyreek being out would be a big thing to note for the main slate. Keep an eye on that one. CMC scored close to 20 last week and still got the snowflake on DK. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. It's like, he's going to get you 20. Like, I think in this matchup, he's going to get you 20. But if he doesn't get you 30, 40, I just don't think he was worth the ownership and the price tag. So it's really tough to see McCaffrey be that high. Top value plays in the slate overall. Matthew Stafford, a top play, so that he's going to come up in an optimizer. I would imagine that based off of seeing this, we're going to see Stafford, Kyron, McCaffrey would be my guess, and then maybe one more Rams receiver, but I'm not sure about that. But Stafford, Wan'Dale Robinson, highly projected as well. Obviously had a great game last week. I don't know that that's sticky. I would think that there's a little more potential to go Jalen Hyatt's way, a little more potential to get Slayton involved. Darren Waller was activated off of IR, might not play in that game, though. He has a 21-day window to get back out there. But definitely, like, if Wan'Dale ends up chalk at 3,700, be mindful of that, because we've been here before with Wan'Dale, and the targets are not necessarily going to be flowing his way always. But Ezekiel Elliott, top value as well. He's actually a really good play at 5,800. He's like a Zach Mossy kind of play. Sam Howell, 6,300. Nice value play for him. And Bills D, probably going to come up a good amount as well. Let's run the optimizer again. I already did it. Good job by me. Here's the optimizer run. Of course, what the optimizer is going to tell us here is where the math's going to push people towards, just based off the projection data. And stochastics projections are a good representation of what the industry uses, as well as just being used more than any other ones in the industry for the most part. So here we're getting Christian McCaffrey in every lineup, Wan'Dale in every lineup, Ezekiel Elliott in almost every lineup. So there's your chalk. Actually getting Juju too, and Kyron. So you're getting really concentrated ownership between these 5 guys. Actually, these 6 guys with Stafford. You never see, at least this year, I haven't seen once, there be a main slate where we're getting 6 guys over 90% in the top 25 projected lineups. So this is your chalk. I would say Juju is one that probably could come down a little bit, though I think Pop Douglas is not likely to go. Yeah, Pop Douglas still concussion protocol. Everybody's banged up, as you can see in this game note here. So watch this one. Juju, though, we've had this be the case before where he looked like a well-projected play. Then we had Sunday, and every site kind of knocks him down. So he's the one that might not be sticky. But I would imagine that no matter what, McCaffrey is going to be here, Wan'Dale's going to be here, Zeke's going to be here, Kyron's going to be here, Matthew Stafford's going to be here. So that's your chalk build. And if you're playing cash, like, that's the cash build too. Stafford, Kyron, Zeke, Wan'Dale, McCaffrey, and then whatever else you can plug in with that. Let's see what these teams look like with all these guys. I don't care about the Juju part so much. So you're getting Garrett Wilson in here as well. Trey McBride, Rams D. So maybe the move is just getting a good amount of Rams D. All right, well, let's look at the team stacks and try to figure this out a little bit better. Let me remove the filter. Team stacks, so every single lineup is using at least 2 Rams. So that is one thing, again, chop yourself away from the field would be to use 1 Ram or no Rams. So if every lineup has 2 Rams, and the majority of them are going to have at least 2 Rams, so then people are going to try to overstack the Rams to get different. So the move is probably to play less Rams. And honestly, the move, I guess, is to maybe pay up and be contrarian with the Niners. We'll see what the Sims say in a moment, but I think what's jumping out to me here is that the Rams come up too easily, too well projected, especially the Rams with Zeke, with Wan'Dale, and with McCaffrey. So if you're playing Rams, I would try to avoid playing Zeke, Wan'Dale, McCaffrey, because that's going to be the build around these chalky Rams builds. But I think the better thing would be to just play less Rams overall. So maybe just take Kyron, just take Cooper Kupp, just take Puka, just take Higbee if you really want to get adventurous. That's how I would try to attack that, because everybody's going to load up on them like they're going to put up 70. And obviously, we know that that's not going to be the most likely outcome. Oh boy, weird slate. Again, we don't have ownership for this one, so I'm going to go right to the Sims. We did run these right before the show, and the Sims run off of ownership, so I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work. But basically, I think this will be a good enough reflection to figure out what we're looking at. Love the fact that Wilson is coming up because you like Wilson as a play or because you want to fade him. I think would be the question I have. Because I think Wilson's certainly going to get fed pretty well, but Miami's defense is pretty good. Jets defense is pretty good. If Tyreek isn't in that game, I think that's another one that could be a little bit more of a slog, but we'll find out. Highest ROI lineup right now is Stafford, Zeke, AJ Dillon, Wandale, Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, Trey McBride, Cooper Kupp, and Rams D. So we are fading Kareem Williams in the top lineup here, but you are getting a double stack with Stafford. So once again, you're still getting, even in a lineup that fades chalk Kareem Williams, you're still getting at least two Rams plus the QB plus the defense. So just getting one Ram is a way to get unique, I think. So having too many late slate plays suboptimal. I normally try to max out 4 late player. You shouldn't care about that at all. You want to have more ideally because it gives you more flexibility, but like it doesn't matter. You should play the best plays relative to your lineup. Let's see, top exposures overall. Highest exposed guy right now, Zeke. So nobody getting in like 100% of lineups. So I guess that's a positive thing. Zeke at 44% of them, Wandale 36%, McCaffrey 27%, Kyron at 23%. So definitely coming up a little bit less than I would have thought, but definitely, still a lot of Zeke, a lot of Wandale. The chalk configuration we saw on the optimizer is going to hold true here for these lineups as well. Let's see. Yeah, late slates can put up a full winning score still. That is true. You've seen people actually win with entirely a lineup built off the late slate. So no, you should never try to worry about that. That's one of those things I feel like that that people worry about, like when they're like in the weeds. It's what that fucking meme of like the idiot guy in the middle and then the two sides. I don't know what we would call that. I guess that's a little bit of a Dunning-Kruger effect. But point being, like that, it's like that meme where it's like, yeah, you just play the best players no matter what. And then the idiot person would say play the best players no matter what. And in the middle, you worry about like, oh, am I playing too many guys from one slate? But it just doesn't matter. Not saying that you're an idiot guy, of course. And to look at Josh Allen lineups, we can. You're seeing a few up top here, but I'll filter for a few more. Josh Allen, Kyren Williams, Zeke, Stephon Diggs, Wandale Robinson, Juju, Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid. That's a fine lineup. I really have no objection to Buffalo lineups overall. Feel like let's see what this matchup with them. Yeah, Dallas, Buffalo, certainly a high total in this one. 50 combined points between them, or implied points rather. Surprised to see Buffalo a favorite in this game, actually. 2-point favorite at home. Dallas defense is so good, though. Like Dallas shut down Jalen Hurts. I don't know. I'm not crazy about the Josh Allen builds, but I certainly get it relative to team totals. Here's some more: Allen, McCaffrey, Kyren, Stephon Diggs, Wandale, Juju, Kyle Pitts, Chig, Allen, Dillon, Ezekiel Elliott, Stephon Diggs, Wandale, Juju, Chig, McCaffrey, Panthers. So you're getting these core guys in pretty much every build. A third lineup is a huge ROI one. It is indeed. They got shredded by Seattle, but you have to you can't just point to one game and go like, that's it. Like teams have outlier performances all the time. It's, I don't know. I would worry about how they got right the next game and how they, again, like they really stomped the Eagles. Like, and that's a matchup that on paper too, like AJ Brown should have destroyed him. He didn't. I don't know. I get it. I get why you want to play Josh Allen, but I don't know. Not for me quite as much. I'll play some. I definitely will play some though, because they are high ROI lineups. But I don't want to totally poo-poo it. But that's I think bad logic. Is no offense to Justin, of course, who's a regular, but that's not the logic to go against Dallas' defense, in my estimation. Other lineups we can look at here: Will Levis coming up. Will Levis, Christian McCaffrey, Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, Hopkins, Wandale, Chig, Trey McBride, Patriots. That's an interesting one. I personally would rather go to the Dallas side. I think this one looks okay. Dak, Kyren, Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, Wandale, Juju, Chig, Trey McBride, Dolphins. I don't like the 2 tight end shit. Why is Chig coming along for the ride with everything? Chig is one of my least favorite players because he always projects a little bit too well on these sites. And he comes into lineups and what's he going to give you? 2 catches for 30 is a best case outcome. And Chig is a dog shit play who just sneaks in too much. And frankly, I'd rather have a McBride 10 times out of 10 than Chig. It's covered to my attention that Spags does in fact know ball. So I implore you all to smash that like button. Yes, please. I'm exhausted talking about. I didn't realize the mental tax it was going to be to look at the 2 slates in a row. So again, me and my big ambitions not coming out well for me. Any other stacks that we should look at here? Who do we really like on the main slate that's going to be low owned? Let's look at a commander stack, because commanders with 2 Rams would be one way to get unique, I would think. Stack contains Washington. Oh, and actually some decent ROIs. So Howell, Zeke, Rashad White, Nico Collins, McLaurin, Wandale Robinson, Chig Okonkwo, a.k.a. Herpes, who comes along with every ride, Christian McCaffrey, Bills. I think if you're going to play some Rams, I would say that this kind of build would make sense. I guess the irony is that we didn't play any Rams with this one. But I think that's a way where if you are going to get in 2 Rams and be with the field who's going to all have 2 Rams, I think trying to play the Washington side is at least interesting on paper because the Rams D is not very good. But, your mileage may vary. Go have a nice nap. I fortunately no nap time coming up. I have to do the probably best bets video after this, then the probably email, and I have a meeting at 3. So lots to do on a Friday for Spags, and Spags is not in the mood to do it. All right, there we go. So 3 takeaways for the main slate as well. Let's do that because nobody's asking me for stacks, and we'll just move on. Any other stacks? Derek Carr, McCaffrey, Zeke. It's just McCaffrey's in every fucking lineup. It's interesting because the exposure to not have McCaffrey everywhere, but it feels like he is just in all these top lineups. And that's definitely something that it's going to be a lot of McCaffrey. A lot of 2 Rams or more Rams for sure. Okay, Justin, I understand your point. I still don't agree. I think that's the kind of thing that people like. You're looking for reasons to talk yourself into it rather than just looking at the metrics, which are that Dallas is one of the best teams in everything they do. And again, like it's a high total game. So like it's whatever, like you're going with the market. The point though is like you're going with the market on a take that everybody's going to be holding. And the ownership, I think, is not going to be crazy high relative to ETR. So maybe people won't play it. But so ETR's ownership is weird, actually. Looking at this now, ETR is projecting Josh Allen for 15%. They're not projecting a single pass catcher over 4%. So that's not possible, I would think. I would guess that Buffalo gets steamed up in all the ownership projections, would be my guess. But Dallas on the year, allows a 65% completion rate on throws of under 20 air yards, negative 0.04 EPA there. Every drop back, negative 0.17 EPA. Every pass, negative 0.2 EPA. Every rush, negative 0.1 EPA. Like they're good at everything. So I think if you're going out of your way and looking for reasons to go, Dallas' defense isn't as good, I just think that's wrong. But you're a regular here, so you know how I think about the stuff. I got it. All right. 3 takeaways to build unique lineups for the main slate. We're not going to do underdog today because I don't have it in me. 3 takeaways. Number 1 would be playing 2 or less Rams, ideally 1 Ram. Again, same thing we talked about for the Saturday slate. For the main slate, especially when you just see multiple Rams getting into every lineup, obviously that's the way people are going to build. I think it is still a viable way to build. Definitely a high upside way, but it is a way that's going to be duped by a lot of the fields. Just keep that in mind if you're trying to get yourself away from stuff. Rams are going to be the most popular team, and it's not going to be even close, I think. Number 2 would be, I think you gotta I think playing into the bad parts of Zeke is the best case outcome for a lot of people. Like people are going to be playing Zeke like he is the most vintage Zeke. We're getting Zeke everywhere. Obviously you saw it in the optimizer. We saw it with the Sims as well. I think that Zeke is a fine play. This matchup for New England overall. Let me just think about this a little bit more. I mean, they're going against Kansas City. Is Zeke going to get checkdowns in the spot? Probably. Definitely can get pass game work still. But it's a 14.8 implied total. Chiefs big favorites, 8-point favorites on the road. It feels like this is not the game script to expect Zeke to be paying off as the chalk play of the week, of the Zach Moss of the week. So I'd really watch out for Zeke's ownership. I think he's going to project well everywhere. That price tag as well. He's got a potential to be Zach Moss owned in a spot that's not even close to what Zach Moss had the last 2 weeks, where obviously tough defenses that he's played, but still he's had the workload. The matchups made sense. The game flows kind of made sense, at least on paper. For Zeke, the game flow does not make sense at all. So I think that's a risky one. Number 3 takeaway to try to get unique. And I don't usually do these for the main slate, so I don't know why I'm doing it now. I think you could really pay up to get contrarian and play some of these stacks. Actually, let's look at Niners real fast here, because I do think Niners a little bit undervalued. I thought they were going to be chalkier based upon all this, but the way that Justin is defending for it and the way that ETR is Josh Allen projected, I think that Buffalo ends up picking up more ownership than the Niners do. But the Niners here, the stacks are going to be very costly, but you do get Brock Purdy triples, you get Brock Purdy doubles. I think these all look pretty good for the most part, and certainly ways to get leverage on Christian McCaffrey as well. You play Brock with McCaffrey, but if you play a Brock Purdy double without McCaffrey, I think that's a pretty good build. So I would say that would be one thing, is maybe go to the Niners instead in a matchup where they could absolutely beat down the Cardinals, and just don't play McCaffrey. I think that's it, because a lot of people are going to play McCaffrey. That's going to be my 3 takeaways for this one, guys. So apologies for the energy being a little bit off today. I'm just beat up. It's been a long month, a long season here. But one way that you guys can actually bring me some joy would be subscribe down below, to hit the like button, leave a comment as well if you watch after the fact. I also have to do the reading of names. Let's get the plug out of the way. Splash Play in the March, always here. Solo person channel, doing the best I can to keep things moving, and always will show up and do the work. No matter how exhausted, no matter how much beer shits I have, I show up here, I do the work to do the best I can to give my takes on this, and it helps me out too. So Appreciate you guys being here for that process, but please do subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please leave a comment. Of course, go check out Probably as well. We'll be doing an NFL best bets video. Going to do the graphics, look up the data, and get myself right to do that. But that'll be coming up on YouTube / Probably app in a little bit, doing the best bet videos every day. Yesterday, just Icarus flew too close to the sun with some of the bets I was advocating for. So we had basically a little bit worse than a 500 day, but every other day we're up still like 10 units on the week. So I feel good about the process, but the shows are good. The videos are short form. So check it out if you want to get in good bets, if you are in a legal betting state. And of course, also stochastic data, check the link in the description, save 15%. And the reading of names. Thank you to the Squirt Squad. These are all the members of the community. Of course, you can join down below for $4.99 a month. But shout out Robert Griffith the Turd, Historical Anomalies, Matthew Emerson, Tyler, CLN, Mathology, Rupesh, Willis, Nick Hedgeland, Ivan Black, Rodby Throbbit, It's Just Port, Io, Rob Van Natten, Brandon Wagner, Consigliere, Bolick, Aaron D, Nez, Jake Twitchell, fucking Alpha, Sammy Telesco, I am the KY, Kevin Castro, Go Birds, Eric Jones, Gamblestein, Lateralis, Primetime KG, Eric Swift, and Lunchable Connoisseur. You guys have helped me put on the show this week, and I appreciate that. Could you imagine if we ever actually had like a lot of people joining the channel and I had to read all of them like that? This might be a bit that has to end, but I'll do it. I suffer in the name of comedy. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. And if I don't take things down this weekend, I hope you do. But good luck to all your best ball teams. Good luck to all of you guys in DFS. Good luck to all of you in betting. And enjoy both slates this weekend, guys. And check out the Saturday video if you didn't. But I'll see you guys on Monday with more. Enjoy your weekends and good luck. Bye.